Same vein as what the last deputy was asking you about in terms of the role of the sisters again. Have they any shares or their nominees any shares anywhere in the St Vincent's Holdings or St Vincent's Healthcare Group?
No, categorically no.
No, and do they make any financial gain out of walking away?
No.
They sell them? Did they sell the shares on to somebody?
No, they sold it to the new holding company, St Vincent's Holdings.
And did they make a lot of money out of that?
No.
No, did they make any money?
They made no money.
Made no money. They sold it, but they made no money.
Yeah, they transferred the shares.
Transferred without selling?
Oh no, they sold the shares legally for nil consideration, as well as we granted them an indemnity, which Donald might cover. But in Conor Gardner language...
Please, yeah, that's what people want to hear.
Okay. They sold the shares for virtually no consideration.
For no money?
For no money, yeah.
So you can sell something for no money, can you?
In Conor Gardner language, we didn't give them a big cheque.
Did you give them €1?
Did we even give them €1?
So how do you sell something and not get money for it? Or something?
Yeah, well,
a dozen eggs or something?
Get my legal...
It was gifted, and I'll see if I can respond to that. It was nominal, what was paid, absolutely nominal.
And you can't remember the nominality?
I can't remember, but it would be considered a gift.
Okay, so they're gone off the picture, and now we have evolutionary from religious to a nothing. I'm after getting people sending me photographs within the last hour of crucifixes and mass stands and different stuff around the hospital. And I'll just ask you again, when do you hope to have all the iconography removed from the hospital now that it's evolved into a secular hospital?
Well, as I said earlier, the final transaction only was concluded a couple of weeks ago. Certainly the board have as an objective to reflect the fact that we are a secular organisation and that we would anticipate moving along that direction in terms of iconography.
Doesn't answer my question. But anyway, look, that's my second time to answer. I'm going to run. When one asks a question like when, you could say a month, 2 months, 10 months, 10 years. You could answer me that way.
Sooner rather than later.
Okay.
Over the next 3 to 6 months.
Grand. So the next 2 to 3 months, you hope to have all that religious stuff moved?
Sorry, I said 3 to 6, and we will address that issue in the rest of our sector.
Grand. Now, the next question I have for you is, earlier on there was a discussion here, I can't remember who was asking the question, if a member of the board would approach a clinician ever about their decision, and it was said no, categorically no, that would not happen. Could you envisage a situation where a clinician would approach the board about their decision, given the very limited laws we have around abortion? For example, in the case of fatal fetal abnormality, if an infant can survive more than 28 days outside the womb, then the abortion should not be allowed. It would be illegal, and the clinician who might carry it out, if he or she thought that this infant would not survive more than 2 months, would be subject to a possibility of prosecution and a jail sentence. Can you envisage any situation where a clinician might approach the board and that somewhere in the back of all this, particularly our own appointment, given that the nuns trusted you so much, would be a Catholic head that would be saying, well, what do we do here?
Well, I'd like to ask the clinicians to maybe cover that.
Well, I would say that the board would not be the appropriate forum for that. Vincent's does have a medical ethics committee which includes ethics professors, clinicians, international experts on human reproduction, and that would be a far more appropriate forum to bring that type of initiative.
Interesting. Does that medical ethics committee have any of the ethics of the original Mother Mary Aikenhead group?
No. No.
And is there any chance you could send that medical ethics constitution to members of the Oireachtas?
I'm sure we could do that without
that would be gratefully received, and I think all the information you're giving us is very interesting. But at some point, we need to put pressure on the government to give us more time to deal with the rest of this stuff. There's a lot of stuff outstanding and a lot of stuff emerging that's causing concern.